Alright, let's start this problem. Am I streaming? I think so. Yes, I am. Okay, let's see. I'm given a schedule of employees, okay? Should let you know my start time as well. Start time is 9:33 p.m. I'll go for half an hour, say 10 p.m. This is a working time for each employee, so I guess, interesting. This is a list of two lists. Each employee has a list of non-overlapping intervals, and these intervals are in sorted order. Okay, so I guess these are the shifts of the employee, I suppose. So this employee works from 1 and then 5 to 6. Return a list of finite intervals representing common, positive length, free time for all employees, also in sorted order. Okay, so we're looking for an interval I'm looking for intervals in which all employees are free, I suppose. Let's see. Okay, so let's see what's going on here. So this doesn't work from 3 to 4. This simply also doesn't work from 3 to 4. Got it. So that's why 3 to 4 is a free time interval. And it has to be in sorted order. Got it. Okay. Okay, I think I sort of have a feeling for a solution. Got it. So I have these are intervals, they're not lists. But each employee has a list of intervals. Gotcha. Okay. Understood. So, positive length. Let me just remember that. Is non-zero. So one possibility is to merge overlapping intervals so they're combined. And then look for gaps in between the intervals. So that's what I think I'll do. I'll sort of flatten the list. So this would become this. Okay, let's see. So I think I would just flatten the list. Then combine the intervals. So I would maybe go through the list once. Put all the intervals. Just flatten them like this. So that takes linear time, linear space as well. Then I would actually sort the intervals. So this by start time. This would go here. that. Then I would merge overlapping intervals, so it would become like this. So these become 1. That, so that this is linear time, linear space as well. So these are overlapping, so this becomes 410. I guess what I can do is I can now identify this gap right here. I can look at the spaces in between intervals. So let me just ensure that I am actually understanding the question properly. Am I missing something? So basically, yeah, basically the intervals represent all the times in which an employee is working, some employee. So I think that works. So yeah, I guess the first, I'll just do what I said. So the time, so to sort, it's going to be O of log n, so that's why it's going to, I'm generating, I'm actually using space. This is for example, the flattened list, and so on. Okay, so let me just go ahead and flatten everything. So I'm going to go through the list like this. Let me just create a new list. I'll call it flattened list. Let's go like this. I'm going to iterate through schedule for one employee schedule. Let's just call it S. This itself is a list. So for interval in S, I'm going to append it to the flattened list. That there should be a better name for this. So schedule, let's call it employee schedule. Like this. It's a bit more descriptive. It should work. So now I have to sort the list. I'll call it intervals actually. Do it in place. Of course, I would sort by start time. So I'll pass in the sort function like this. I for interval. So now what sorting does, I may have forgotten to explain this earlier, it puts adjacent intervals together, ready to be merged. So now I can create another merged intervals, and I can go through the intervals. This. And I can actually start do this. Let's see, I can create an interval here. Can I instantiate an interval? I guess I could. Nothing's stopping me from doing that. So curve interval. So basically, if curve interval dot start is none, then I'll set it do this interval Yeah, I'll just copy the current one. So I'm going to iterate through the intervals. If the current interval intersects with, I'll call this working interval actually. Otherwise, check to see if it overlaps. It overlaps if the start of this interval, we'll look at the different cases. So it's sorted by, this is one case. So maybe this start appears before this end. Yeah, that makes sense. What should I do if they are like this, or if they sort of touch? Yeah, if they touch, then it's intersecting, so it should be less than equal. So L if I dot start is less than or equal to with interval dot end, then you extend the working interval, possibly. For example, it could be like this, in which case you would not extend the working interval. That should do it. Otherwise, there's no intersection, and I would add the working interval to merged intervals. Then I would set the working interval to the current interval. Like that, or create a new one. That's fine, actually. Start is equal to I dot start. Okay. And at the end, the final working interval has to be added as well. So I'm going to assume that is that necessary? Let's see. Let's say there's one interval. You go through here, and then just set, and then the loop ends, so we have to add it. Okay, so that is needed. So now I will go through the intervals, and it's just like I was doing here, and identify gaps. So I'll compare an interval with a previous interval. That's all I'll do. So the result is here. That I'll start with for I in range like this. So we'll start off here at 1. This. Then we'll compare the start of the current interval to the end of the last one of the previous interval, and if they're different, then we can go ahead and add it to the result. So let's do that. Current interval. That. I'm going to compare it to the previous interval. If current interval start is larger than, then go ahead and create a new interval and add it. Yes. So start's going to be let's see. Okay, I think that should work. So I am 16 minutes in. I think that is the solution. Let me just go ahead and run through this example here. Just walk through his code to look for errors. So yeah, I'm just iterating through each of these. There are 2 elements here. And for each of these schedules, I'm going to go through each interval and just go ahead and add it to intervals. I've caught an error. Nice. So basically, intervals is going to look like this. That. Then I'm going to sort it by the start time. So this is going to go here. This is going to go here. Like that. Then let's move on forward to the rest of the code. Create another array called merged intervals. Going to have a working interval, which is initially empty. Or I can even just say none, but whatever. It's like this. So yeah, so we go through each of the intervals. So we start here. This is none, so this goes here. Then we move on to the next one. We see that the start is less than the end of the previous interval of this one right here. So we extend it actually. So this is 2, this is 3, so this becomes 3. We loop again, this goes here. We see that the start is greater than the working interval than the end of the working interval. So we go ahead and add this to the merged intervals. This. We create a new working interval, and we set the start and end to the current to be the same as the current interval. We go here. We see that 5 is less than 10, so it drops all the way over here, which means it goes here. So this actually includes this, so we just keep it the same. Then we loop again. We're out of bounds, so we just add what we have to this list right here. Great. We don't need this anymore. Now we have a result array. This. We start off I here. Have 1. So this is cur interval. And this is prev interval. We see that the start is greater than the previous one. So we go ahead and create a new interval and append it to this list. It's going to be 3 to 4. That. Then we loop. And we're out of bounds. We're done. So it should work. Let me think of some other cases. If there are, let me just if the intervals are empty, then I think we can just return. Okay, so going forward, we'll just assume that the that there are actually intervals. Otherwise, I think we're good. Run code. Takes no positional arguments. I guess I'm not sorting this properly. I thought it took in a function. Oh, I have to do this. It's key. Duh. Cool. Now let me just run this. I made a mistake there, but I caught it. Okay, not bad. I did a LeetCode hard in under 20 minutes while very hungry. I will have a good night, everyone.